things. All right, but watch up here, please. We're going to talk about compareTo because later today we have a REPL. Everybody look up here. I'm not going to be happy if you go like, Mr. Hayes, what's this compareTo thing? Because I'm talking about it right now. This was from our September 3rd slide deck. So the one that starts with the title A011. So the 11th class that we had, we're today on the 82nd class we've ever had this year. So compareTo is for strings, and it compares two strings. It returns 0 if they're identical. It returns a negative number if the first string comes before the second string, alphabetically, and returns a positive number if the first one comes after the second one. And you can't always count on the number in some perfect way, but in general, I did apple, banana, and donut, some of my favorite foods. And if I do apple compared to banana, I get -1 because A is one letter before B in the alphabet. But the main thing with compareTo that you care about is it a negative number? That means the one on the left comes before the one on the right. If I do donut compared to apple, I get +3 because the letter D is 3 letters later in the alphabet than A. And if I do apple in quotes compared to apple the variable, we get a 0. It's just that's like dot equals. So in a way, you don't even need dot equals. You could always just be doing, hey, if this compared to that equals 0, but I guess dot equals is less typing anyway, and returns a Boolean automatically. Okay, so the key to know about compareTo, and this could show up on the AP test, that's why I'm reviewing it with you, is that you get a negative number, a 0, or a positive number when you make this call. So it's not a Boolean. It doesn't say true or false. It's anyway, I'm going to give you all the examples again. So questions? I'm going to make you do a little method later today that has to do with that. And then just because I'm going to do it every day for the next 11 classes until the AP test, this is the breakdown of topics for the multiple choice questions. I mean, if you want to go look at the big tickets, Boolean expressions, if statements, that's 15% of the exam, this part of the exam. Iteration, which is for loops. So you need to understand enhanced for loops, regular for loops, and while loops. Those are the biggest ticket things. Doing stuff with arrays is the next biggest thing. 2D arrays, legit level there. Inheritance, tiny bit recursion. Writing classes, not so much when you're doing multiple choice, right? Anyway, just that quick review. And then remember, for the free response, we're going to have 4 questions. One question will be where you're given a class and you have to write some methods. And we've been doing a lot of these lately, like, hey, add a method that does such and such, given all this other stuff. And then you'll have to write a class from scratch. That's another whole question. We're going to do one of those Friday. So today's FRQ will be another one of question 1's type, method and control. Writing methods given some specs. Friday, we'll be writing a class from the 2020 exam. Then there'll be a question that has to do with arrays and array lists. And there'll be a question that has to do with 2D arrays. So we're going to keep practicing these things. I'm going to make sure I give you hopefully equal amounts of all these things. Yes, Fiona?
And how long do we have on?
It's 90 minutes for all of them. Okay. And so you're not limited. You could spend 90 minutes and do a really good job on one of them and then fail the exam if that's how you want to do it. But I wouldn't recommend that. And I'm not implying that you would do that. Or you could spend 22 and a half minutes on each problem, which is the ideal specification. Or probably ideal would be if you finished one in 15 minutes and then you took a half hour on one that was harder. But you got to pace yourself. I want to say, I don't want to be, I'm not at all flippant on this. I was really good at taking tests though when I was your age, and I did well on the SAT, and I kicked serious donkey on the AP calculus exam, the BC exam. I got a 5, I got a 4 on the Spanish exam, and I got only a 3 on the English exam. Anyway, but in general, I was really good at taking tests, and I took the GREs later after college. I was going to go to grad school, but I didn't in the end. I don't remember my score. But anyway, I tended to be really good at taking tests. And then when I wanted to become a math teacher, I worked in software for 14 years, and then I left that, and I was enrolled at Sonoma State, and I had to pass 3 tests, and one of them was multiple choice, and I did fine.
Serious donkey.
Whatever, I passed it. I don't remember my score. But then one had a bunch of, it was like this FRQ thing, but it was for any math in the whole universe, that was within a certain scope. And on that day, I did not follow the advice I'm giving you. Thank you. She's not here. Do you want it back, or should I just throw it away? Okay, thank you. On that day, I got into this one problem, and I knew I was so close. And I ended up, I could tell, like I did one of those things. It was like a shame spiral. I was like, I know I should move on, but I'm going to spend another minute on this one because I'm so close. And anyway, I didn't pass. I didn't pass that test. And that was frustrating. Like I knew it in the moment. I'm like, I'm doing this thing that you should never do, which is spend too much time. There were like 3 problems, multiple parts, just like this exam. So, and don't worry, I came out of it. I'm like, I know I failed that. And then I studied more, and I took it the next chance I could. It was like 6 weeks later, and I did fine the next time through. But it was, it was humbling. But also, the lesson I learned was you don't want to do that. So pace yourself. And if you've spent a certain amount of time on one of these and you're stuck, oh my goodness, move on. Just say, you know what? I'll come back if I have time. But do not just spiral around the drain and waste more than 22 and a half minutes on one of these problems. You could still pass the AP test. I bet if you left one of these blank, if you did the other ones well, So they say like passing a 3 is like a C on a test. And, it's all magic in the back room. They have all kinds of statistics, and they do all kinds of things. So you can't just say, oh, I know if I get a C, I'm going to pass, and then run percentages. You can't. But and remember, even if you're like flailing on one, put some int longest equals 0, return longest. Like, is there anything I could do here other than leave it blank? Yes.
So, what would I'm kind of confused on the grading aspect. You said that it was complicated, but it's like.
Oh, well, they do all kinds of stuff where they do statistical analysis, and they do stuff that they won't tell us. They can do anything they want, So what if everybody failed question 3 on the 2022 exam? Like, then they're like, okay, well, obviously we made it too hard, so we'll adjust our scoring based, whatever. They're not going to fail everybody because they made something. And probably they do analysis on the multiple choice questions too. I think a lot of these sorts of tests put in problems that they know they're not even going to use, and they're testing them for the year after or something. I don't know. You just want to do your best. But anyway, my pitch was pace yourself. And that's why when we do a FRQ today, we're going to do 22 and a half minutes, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay. Right now, everybody, I'd like you to go back to the AP classroom, continue with multiple choice questions from the 2014 practice exam. Get out a piece of paper, though, and write your answers on the piece of paper, and we're going to do an FRQ on that paper. You're not going to turn it in, but I want to see writing, and it's smart to do work on paper for these problems. I want to call this out a little bit better by adding blank spaces. You can skip question 14. The answer is E, and question 25, the answer is D, as those address content that's not included in the AP exam. For you, this is from 2014, so those questions, just skip them. Don't be like, I don't know what an interface is. Why did you not teach me this, Mr. Hayes? It's a fancy part of, it's an extension to inheritance that they don't require us to know anymore. But we're doing